I think this whole story is surrounded with miracles. It was February 2015. I was headed to church, and it was no special morning, but I saw this vision of this piece as clear as I could see my hand. And I pulled over as soon as I could so I could kind of write down the details and some thoughts on it. And then I went off to church and didn't do anything about it for probably another 14 months. I think sometimes we hesitate to do the things that we want to do because we don't know if we're worthy, or maybe we don't think we can. So I put it off for whatever reason. And then in about May of 2016, I started the armature. The armature is the internal frame for the clay, and it just flowed. It was so easy to put the armature together. And I rolled it off to the side, and again, a few months passed before I did anything. I think, again, just not sure if I could actually pull it off, Then about July 4th, I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to do something with this, and I started packing the clay on and getting the figure to look like just a human figure sitting there on a stump. Finally, I got it to a point where it was really ready to go ahead and do the details. But again, I hesitated. I think now I was really getting scared because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do the details that really needed to be done. So we went from July 4th into September. It was the afternoon, and a really hot September day. My little air conditioner was just cranking away, trying to keep it cool in there. And I decided I'm gonna go for it. So I started putting on the eyes, and I knew these eyes had to be kind and compassionate, and they had to be full of grace, and they had to be accepting. And I tried, and I put some eyes on, and I thought, no, that won't do. I took them off, and then I put some more eyes on, and I took them off again. And I just couldn't get it right. So I moved on to the nose, and again, I tried to put a nose on that I thought was going to be the way it should look, and then I took it off, and I put another one on, and it wasn't long I moved on to the mouth, putting a mouth on, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, and I was really getting frustrated at this point. I thought, I'm not sure that I can even do this. And so I just stopped. I asked God, I said, please God, take my hands. This is your sculpture. This is your piece. Take my hands and you sculpt what you want. I will do whatever it is that you direct me to do. And so I started with the eyes again, and it was almost miraculous that these beautiful eyes appeared. And I was watching my hands work, and before I knew it, the eyes were done, and they just looked wonderful. And then I went on to the nose, and then I went on to the mouth, and then the beard, and the mustache, and his hair. And all this time, I could just watch my hands work. I could just feel my heart in my chest. I was panting, I was sweating like crazy, and it was just like I had been taken over. And the ability to sculpt was just unbelievable. Within 2 hours, I had sculpted the entire piece. I was totally amazed, because what I had just done in 2 hours would have taken me at least several days to do, probably, and maybe even weeks. And I sat down and I held his hands and I looked into his face and I just wept. I couldn't believe the sincerity and the beauty and the grace that I saw within this face that I know that God sculpted. It was at that moment I looked, and it just seemed like he smiled at me. It was almost unbelievable that how can this clay be moving and smiling? And I looked again, and again I just felt like he smiled at me. And it was after that that I had to go take a walk. I didn't want to interact with anybody because I felt so light. I just felt like I was flying. It was just an incredible, incredible experience. So I really feel like God has put this piece here in our midst for whatever purpose that he sees for it. And because I had thought that maybe I saw him smile at me, I thought, well, that was just me. And a minister friend of mine came, and she sat down, and she was just like, oh, it has such grace. And she was just in awe of the piece. And another friend came by, and she just sat there and just started to weep. in silence for 20 minutes or more. Then I had another friend who I was busy at the time and I couldn't go down and be there with them. So they asked if they could go down and take a look at the piece. And one lady came back and she goes, "I'm really kind of a tough person, but that really got me." And I've had other people sit down and say that they are sure that he has smiled at them. So God has put something special in this piece, and I hope that others will see it and experience it and enjoy what God has given us.